Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 94 is brought to you by Fatastic, one of our newest Patreon patrons. Today, Sergio and I are joined by one of our Haken villagers, Quantrell. We will be discussing the new Haken artwork and all things Animal Crossing with Quantrell, including his love for Pocket Camp. So to begin, hello Sergio, how you doing?
Hello Chewy, I'm doing rather well.
Awesome. And hello Quantrell, welcome to the show.
Greetings and salutations, gentlemen.
we're excited to have you. It's been pretty I feel like you always leave these really awesome comments both on Discord and on our videos and everything, and I'm always like, yeah, you make really good points all the time.
Thank you, appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. I probably ruined that one.
No, that's all right. That's okay. You know, we cough and that sort of thing every once in a while. You know, one time I felt really bad because, well, both physically and kind of emotionally, not like really bad emotionally, but it was more like I was sick one day when we were recording and I was just kind of sniffly the whole time and somebody pointed it out. And I was like, oh no, I was trying so hard not to like be gross in this recording, but I'm sorry.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, you know, we record rain or shine. Well, you know, We're inside, so it doesn't really bother us too much that way.
Yeah, but if you didn't, you'd get all these crazy messages like, "Where's the podcast?"
Yeah, that's true. We got to keep this show going for pretty much ever, I think.
Yeah, forever.
So yeah, I guess if you're all listening or watching on YouTube, if you've clicked on this through whatever your podcast app of choice is, you may have noticed we have some new artwork for the show. And this is because we are now officially in September, which a year ago today, we did not know about Animal Crossing Switch at all. I mean, we all had dreams of it, but it wasn't anything confirmed. So this is going to be a fun month, I think. But we have some new artwork, of course, because every month we like to change it up and have just something else for you all to enjoy. So a little bit about this piece. It was created by Brandy Payne, and her website is brandypayne.myportfolio.com, and she spells her name Brandi, so an I instead of a Y. And then pain is not like the pain that hurts you, but more Pay, like pay, your loan with bells, and then NE. So pain, that's it. And then
you might want to put Twitter that in the show description.
Oh yeah, it'll for sure be in the show description for everybody. But in case you don't look, that's how you spell it all. So anyways, they made this piece. I contacted them, and it's another artist I found through that, what was it? It was Share the Warmth zine that Sergio bought a copy. Awesome. I bought a copy, and the one I really love that they made it really easy to find all of these artists because they're all listed in the back. Their page number is associated with their art.
Right.
It's all very organized and easy to look through, and I've just been using that because there's so many pieces. Like Jackie and I, we essentially looked through the book, and Jackie was like, ooh, I like this one, and I was like, I'll contact them all and figure out what to do for their artwork, you know? But yeah, I guess you both can see this piece. What do you think of it? It's kind of a new look for Haken.
Yes, it's very September, like, you know, like twilight kind of lighting, the bug off with Nat. It's nice. Like, it gives you a hint, you know, summer is ending finally, thank goodness, and it's almost fall. So it's very well depicting of that.
Yeah, if you're catching common butterflies at this time of the day, you're not going to win any prizes from that.
That's very true. I mean, you should be going for those like big oak silk moths that are on the trees at night, you know?
Right. No, this is when you catch the butterflies from the island and you just hold it until until the thing, and then after you go through all your junk bugs, then that's when you're like, okay, here are these. What are those? The big giant butterflies. I forgot those things are called. But like, here's like 10 of them.
Yeah. I think they were the bird wing
That's
butterflies,
it. Those
like
bird
the big
wing
green
butterflies.
Yeah, those are great. And you're totally reminding me of like what the strategies were around the bug off, where it was like, because you got like different furniture,
Right.
each time you passed the record. And so you'd essentially have to plan out your bugs like, okay, I got to catch like some small ones here and then just gradually get bigger so I can just keep beating my record.
Right.
And then get as much of the bug furniture as possible,
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Boone's catching common butterflies, he's going to be standing off on the side of the podium.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Henry's thinking the same thing Nat usually does, and he's about to eat that butterfly.
About to eat it. He's on full net.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I've done my work for today. I feel like I need a reward at this point. A nice little snack should do it.
Yeah, well, job well done.
Yeah, and I've shared it with everybody on the Discord so far, a little bit earlier, and I was really happy that people were saying, like, this might be their favorite piece so far. It's exciting to see whenever a new artist comes up, and they just keep getting more fun,
Yeah, I didn't even know that was Henry at first. I thought that was Lily initially.
Oh, yeah, Lily. We actually had Lily in the previous one, yeah. Yeah. So, and what's funny though is she's kind of like facing the fireworks, so you can't really see Lily.
Right.
You just see like the back of her head.
Right.
But yeah, her color scheme's pretty recognizable. But yeah, Henry's got kind of a similar thing going on. And I do want to mention like both Boone and Henry, they both have September birthdays. Hence why.
Oh.
Yeah. Sometimes I go off of it. Like the last piece, I kind of let Jaren pick, who essentially was in the piece, and she kind of went with villagers who lived in her town currently. And this one, I was like, you know what, let's just do September birthdays. And I feel like I'm sad about this, but like the gorillas get a lot of hate, or at least like the gorilla body types and those characters in Animal Crossing, and I'm just like,
right.
They've really, really grown on me. I really enjoy the gorilla characters.
Yeah, they usually give them like crazy eyes, like the girl ones.
Oh yeah,
like the Hello Kitty one. Like her eyes look like feet.
Yeah, Rilla. Yeah, they do get some funky designs for them, but I don't know. I think they're fun. I think it's really cool that you can meet all of these different animals, and I don't know. Another one that get a lot of hate are the kangaroos, and I've always loved kangaroos, and I think they're just fun villagers. I like the animals that aren't really around me here in Utah.
Yeah, well, if there's any kangaroos, is there like a zoo close by?
You know what? There is a zoo, like literally probably 4 minutes from me. And we can see gorillas, but they don't have like kangaroos at all. Yeah. But they also have these giant tortoises. I want tortoises to come to Animal Crossing so bad.
Outside of just Tortimer. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah, I know. It may surprise all of you. But they do have really huge tortoises at this zoo. They're like, I have never seen a tortoise that big. It's probably like 3 feet long. I don't know. It's crazy. So Brandy made this piece. I do want to tell you their Twitter and Instagram as well, which will also be in the show notes. But their Twitter is @BrandyRecognize, and then their Instagram is @BrandyRecognition. So a little different. There's recognize and recognition.
Yeah, don't switch them up.
Yeah, I don't know who you'll get on Twitter if you do Brandy Recognition. So don't blame me if you see something you don't want to see.
What do you mean? I don't draw anything.
Yeah, that's true. And then of course, we have Nat here in this piece too. And Nat is a character I always find these characters pretty funny because they always hint at eating whatever you bring to them. And I've always enjoyed that little joke that's there because you start to wonder, it's that moment in Animal Crossing where every animal is aware that they're an animal and they eat other animals.
That is true.
So you just wonder, like, is it okay I guess I have fruit in my town. Are you okay just eating fruit?
Yeah, what do you do if you have like Rex and Savannah in the same town?
Yeah, you've got a lion and a zebra. Usually that doesn't end so well in nature.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Here, Rex, have this perfect pair, please.
Yeah, I hope this satisfies us. But you know what? If Simba can grow up on a meal of bugs and everything, I think Rex can deal with some apples.
Yeah, he never did eat was it Pumbaa? He never ate Pumbaa, so
yeah. And that's hard for me even. I love some pork. Yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to say about this piece is I do really love the sunset type of look. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've been trying to get like different times of day in these new pieces of art because I think the first one started out very daytime, you know?
Yes.
And so the lighting was very bright and everything, but like Animal Crossing has some serious atmosphere to it, especially like I watch probably more than I should that time lapse of the New Horizons trailer.
That's the best part of the trailer.
It's the best part. I know. I love it so much, but I can just watch that all day, every day, and just appreciate like the different shadows and the lighting going on. So yeah, I really do like the new kind of lighting for this, but because we haven't really done an evening kind of just before the sun goes down piece of art for the show, and it's nice to see it that way.
Yeah, it's a really nice picture, and the fact that Nat's in it, you know, Nat he only has like 3 bug contests like the whole year. You see Chip like 9 months out of the year, but you only see Nat during the summer months.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. That's pretty crazy. It feels like that in Pocket Camp as well. You just see
Nat
Chip.
has not existed yet.
Yeah, you just see Chip over and over and over, and I'm like, you guys, there's like this whole place over here for bugs. Let's do a contest there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you most absolutely could.
Yeah, especially because I really do like, and we'll get more into Pocket Camp a little later, but I do really like the kind of fish tanks that we got in some of the previous Pocket Camp events, and I would love to get like more bug kind of containers. What do you call those? I don't know.
Terrariums?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, terrariums, I think. But yeah, some bug terrariums for my camper would be really awesome. Which I still need to decorate. I turned one part into home theater kind of thing, but I want like just an aquarium upstairs.
Oh, is this your RV?
Nice.
Yeah, this is my RV.
Okay, yeah, there's so many fish tanks from like the beginning, like the first year. They've done so many different things. Like the second year that they used to do that they don't do anymore. But yeah, they used to give you all the new fish that was in the tournament, and then they just stopped.
Yeah, that's a real bummer. There's some things that have changed. And like I said, we're going to get into it. But before we do, let's actually move on and talk about all things Animal Crossing. I got a lot of general questions for you, Quantrell, because I always love to hear kind of people's experiences with Animal Crossing, as well as like what got them into it, why do they love it so much, and that sort of thing. So let's just go into my first question. Like, when and why did you get into Animal Crossing?
Okay, so Population Growing came out in like 2002, correct?
Yes, in the States.
That is correct. Yeah. Okay, so I graduated from college in 2001. That's how old I am. And back then, I used to be a huge IGN reader. Back in the Matt Casamassina heyday, name drop. And so I used to... I had a job, and so when I wasn't at work, I'd come home and I'd read IGN all the time. And right before Animal Crossing came out, they started hyping it up, and it sounded interesting. It didn't sound like anything that I'd already played before. Like I played The Sims before, but this sounded like some Sim-ish, but not exactly.
Right.
So I just said, why not? So I rode my bike to Circuit City.
Oh man, I miss Circuit City.
I rode my bike to Circuit City, and I picked up a copy, And I got home, plugged it in. It came with It came with a memory card. Put that in and did the basic tutorial. And then I don't know what happened. It just clicked, and I was hooked like ever since.
That is pretty awesome. I love all these callbacks too. I miss Circuit City for sure. But yeah, that's awesome. I really do. I like hearing your story because it's very unique, I'd say, from what we've had so far. Because I think, being older than some of us, not all of us,
just a bit,
because we do have some older people who listen to the show and everything, and every once in a while chime in a bit, but I do really like getting that experience of like, you were at a point where you could just like ride your bike over and get a game. And that's pretty awesome. And I'm jealous of that because I didn't get like the box art or anything for the game until just this past year.
Oh, really? You had like a generic GameStop black case or something?
Not even that. Like, I borrowed the game from a friend in high school who gave it to me in literally one of those clear just CD cases that you get with like a pack of CDs to burn things,
Right.
So I just got it in that, and it had been, and eventually I was like, hey, so like high school's almost over. Do you want this game back that you gave me 3 years ago? And they were fine with me keeping it. And I was like, cool, because this is kind of my life now. But yeah, so like my experience was like, I borrowed games from friends when I could because, I'm just a kid at that point, don't really have too much disposable income or anything. So I don't know. I really like that you just went out and got it, especially from reading like IGN and stuff. I've always been, I don't know when I started listening to the Nintendo Voice Chat podcast, but I keep notes of like all the people who really like Animal Crossing on that show.
Man, when they first started that podcast, it was like we speak, or no, that was the name of the microphone, Nintendo. So, but it was like we chat or something like that, where they were making fun of the fact that they didn't have voice chat on Nintendo, but it was we something.
Yeah, I definitely didn't start that early on. I want to say, well, I don't know when I started like getting into, I guess, video game kind of. What's the word for it? Publications or
coverage,
or news, video game news. Even I essentially would just like pop in to see E3 stuff from Nintendo every year, and then I think it must have been like college-ish where I started listening to podcasts and seeing just more video game news and being like, oh, there's a way to keep up with all of this stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, back in my day, in order to see E3 stuff, we had to wait for the EGM that came out afterwards.
Oh.
in order to find out what happened at E3. I don't even think it was E3. It was like, I think they started at CES at first before it became E3.
Oh yeah, that would be true. And I'm also jealous of the early days of E3 too, because I think my brothers at the time were in college and they were at USC, so they're just in downtown LA, and E3 would take place there, and they'd have like access to the expo floor and everything. Like they could just take a train over to, I think it must have been the Los Angeles Convention Center or something, but they'd take a train over there and they got to try out like Super Mario 64 for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they were one of that first group and everything. And I was just like, man, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I'm dating myself. That's pretty much where I was at. Like, I think the N64 came out my freshman year of college.
That's cool. Yeah, I think my brothers had they were probably like near the end of college at that point. And so like with them, I always kind of grew up playing Nintendo and Super Nintendo. And then one Christmas, we just got back from like a trip to Mexico that we always did in the winter. And they had broken into our place. And I say broken in because they literally broke in. They had broken the front window to get to unlock our door and just put like tons of presents in our house, because there wasn't like they didn't have a key to get in, but yeah, they broke in and gave us presents. So
did they fix it?
Eventually, yeah, because it was like, that's a hazard right there, because you could literally reach in and unlock the door, open
right.
it.
That's kind of a problem.
Yeah, so they did fix it. I think they stuck around, probably came in like the day before, a couple days before, and just hung out around the place while they waited for us to open an N64 and play, I guess, Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing, and Super Mario 64, of course.
Nice.
The good old days. Yeah, in college, our games of choice were Mario Tennis, Mario Kart, and the WCW and the WWF wrestling games.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those are all really fun.
Yeah, that was back in the heyday of like Stone Cold and The Rock and WWF versus WCW. So every Monday night, everybody was packed to their TV to watch wrestling.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that stuff. It's kind of like skateboarding video games came out around that time too.
Yeah,
all the Tony Hawks.
Yeah,
and skate.
Yeah, yeah. It's really fun to go back and play all of those. So you started Animal Crossing from the very beginning. That's amazing. One of the rare few nowadays.
Yeah, I know. All these whippersnappers are like, City Folk was my first game.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not surprised when they say like Wild World is their first game, because that game sold like crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just like you meet a lot of people who started out with that being their experience. And then, not as many people got City Folk, but it was still more than population growing. And then New Leaf, by then I felt like the game had a name, people were into it, and a lot of people got it. So I don't know how many people New Leaf was their first game, but I'm sure there were a lot still.
I'm sure there are plenty.
Yeah, because it sold like, I don't know, 12 million already.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, you've been playing from the very beginning. What has been your favorite Animal Crossing game? And I guess we'll stick to main lines right now, and then we'll ask you about kind of the spin-offs too.
All right, no problem. All right, so it was population growing until New Leaf. The thing about Wild World was when it came, like I was really excited when it came out. And while it did add some things on to the Animal Crossing formula from population growing, I felt it was like one step forward, two steps back, especially with holidays. Like Yay Day and Lottie Day were not the most interesting of days. The game was like so slow compared to like population growing. Like population growing, like it, like when you run, like it plays really smooth. And Wild World just feels like it's chugging at like 10 frames a second. And the population growing music is still my favorite soundtrack from all the mainline games. Especially like 7 a.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m. is my absolute favorite track out of the entire series. And we can never forget the GOAT of Rainy Day.
Oh yeah,
love the Rainy Day theme from Population Growing.
Yeah,
so it's not that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, go for it.
So I did like Wild World, and I did like City Folk, despite being probably the resident City Folk hater on the Discord. But it's only because I didn't hate it. It just disappointed me how it was just literally Wild World on my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I totally understand a lot of those sentiments. I feel like maybe a lot of us who started with population growing feel kind of the same way, where it's hard to beat that population growing experience when it's that first one you played. And I really like that point you made about how fast that game is, because even now, I think it's still the fastest Animal Crossing game, which is a weird thing to be interested in such of like a kind of slow-paced, very relaxing type of experience, Right. But just like the load screens are so short in that, and like right away, like your character, if it walks through a door, say I walk into Tom Nook's place, if I keep my joystick tilted in the forward direction, I'll have already moved a few steps forward before the screen even comes back.
Right.
Yeah, like all of those load screens were very short. It was very quick. It was snappy and everything. And I appreciate that because it's very easy to get stuck in load screens in Animal Crossing because you walk through so many doors. You go into your house and you walk to a different room, that's a load screen. You walk back, it's a load screen.
Right. You see that trolley all the time in New Leaf.
Yeah.
In the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah. I want like some stats on like, on average, how many people, how much time is spent on that one screen.
Right.
Because every once in a while, like I'll record the weekly updates, and when I go through a town, sometimes I spend a little bit more time. I have to cut it down and to fit like what I said versus like how much I played. And it's so easy to get down to the time just by cutting out those load screens for me.
Yeah, I'm sure. I obviously they have to do what they have to do, but it's population growing. Like everything was so fast. It's the only game where when you run, you actually feel like you're running. You can't run in City Folk or you'll live in the desert. And then, like I said, like Wild World, it just feels like the game is just so slow. And I don't think it's it was nothing but bad design or anything. It's just that the game was just slow.
Yeah, I think it was definitely like just the hardware it's on. It's not going to be as powerful as some of like the home consoles type of that are out there. So, and it's essentially their first like. Not their first like handheld, but it's their first DS line thing. So they were definitely focused on like, how do we get like the touch screen stuff right? How do we get both screens to show up correctly on this thing?
Right.
So,
Like, how could we use this microphone?
Yeah. And then how do we introduce internet play to Nintendo games, because that was the first console out there that Nintendo made that had internet capabilities. Up until then, you could do it with like the GameCube by getting some accessory that you could plug in, and
right. It was more trouble than what it was worth.
Yeah, I never saw anybody with that.
not a person,
not a single person at all. But yeah, I mean, and that said, like I know I kind of pointed out New Leaf's kind of load screen type of flaws, but overall, like the gameplay of New Leaf is definitely. It's not to be underestimated because that has managed to, in our eyes at least, beat that first population experience or population growing experience and become more of our favorite game,
Yeah.
Right. That's just, that was the first game where I felt like they really added on to stuff instead of, like I said, like Wild World and City Folk being virtually the same. Wild World felt like it did some stuff good, but then it did some stuff not as good. And so it ended up not being as enjoyable as population growing was for me.
Yeah. And I feel like that takes away from like the progression and growth of the series, the stuff that it doesn't do as well. And so you get a bit of that trade-off where, yeah, there are some new things, but there are also a bunch of things that are missing. Whereas like New Leaf got the opportunity to really add, not just like combine a lot of the stuff that already existed in each of the games, but also add and build on top of that in a bigger way.
Right. And that's why that was the best until next March.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm going to say it right now. New Horizons is my favorite Animal Crossing game.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you already.
Yeah. But I have
just by that time lapse.
Yeah, I have a question about New Horizons, but before that, I do want to ask you, and I think I know the answer, but what is your favorite Animal Crossing spin-off game?
It's Pocket Camp.
Yeah, I thought so.
Nice.
It's Pocket Camp.
Yeah, and I'll leave that at that because we are going to talk about Pocket Camp a lot more.
Okay.
We just mentioned New Horizons, of course, and how that's going to be the best Animal Crossing game ever. What are you looking forward to in New Horizons?
Okay. Well, first off, really enjoy Animal Crossing more on the TV than I do on the handhelds. It's just, it looks better, it plays better. So I just like sitting down in front of the TV and vegging out on Animal Crossing. But most importantly, this is going to be the first time in a mainline game I actually get to be a black character. And I know for a lot of people like they're probably like I don't know, I don't think you really understand what a big deal that is to someone who is a black person or like you when you're of a ethnicity or whatever, just not being able to really represent who you are and in your character.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when I played City Folk and New Leaf, I always use the me mask just so I can have my character be black.
Right.
So I'm excited about that. And then just doing something new, because like y'all, like I've played New Leaf to death. There are some things that I could do. Like I haven't gotten gold badges for everything or whatever, but I don't really care about that. I'm ready to just start over and pay lots and lots of debt.
Yeah. I totally relate to that too. Being Mexican, essentially, I was always like, yeah, I liked that they had the tanning in New Leaf, especially because, the game came out during the summer, so obviously we're going to play a lot within the release of a game, and so it was very easy to get to a skin tone that I felt matched mine a little better,
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't mind it that first year, but then, the winter comes in, you're not in the sun as much, your character's not in the sun as much, and that tan starts to fade away, and you're just like, oh man, what am I gonna do? And then by the next summer after that, you're like, maybe you don't spend as much time on the outdoor activities as before because you caught all of the fish, you caught all the bugs last month. And so you don't get that same opportunity to tan anymore. And so it was just like a hassle overall, And
right.
And I do really like what you said, where it's like you're making a character that is a representation of yourself in some way. At least a lot of people do. Some people will make a pretend character, or I don't know what's the right word for that, but they'll make a side character that's meant to be kind of a role play type of thing. But when you're working on that original character of your own, Animal Crossing is a game that's very, very tied to your identity, and your identity is very tied to you, both are very important.
Right, because you're designing your house, your town, it's your fashion sense. So it's the stuff that's in the game represents you, but who you are, what you look like, is a big part of who you are.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that there's going to be a work around it right from the get-go in this next game. And because, they've introduced it already. Happy Home Designer let us choose our skin tone and everything, just right off the bat. And then Pocket Camp continued that. And now it's just I'm glad that... I guess I'm glad that Nintendo is a big company, because once you do business all over the world and you realize that there are so many other people out there that are enjoying what you do, and bringing them in is only beneficial. I think I really appreciate that,
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I forgot some of the other things you mentioned.
Yeah, no, I forgot some of the things I mentioned too.
But yeah, I guess, how do you feel about the crafting mechanic being added?
Well, I surely hope they do more with it than Pocket Camp has started to do with it.
Yeah, that's really true. I wish I need Pocket Camp to give us some more crafting things.
That's what I'm saying. I don't mind. Well, I don't know. Are we going to talk about this when we get to the Pocket Camp section? Because I really don't mind them having new stuff all the time. That's great and wonderful. But there's still thousands of things from the old games that it's just throw it in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll make actually a little theory about that a little bit later too. Just based on like kind of what we've heard developers say and what Pocket Camp has been doing lately, I have an idea for them.
Okay.
So I remember the episode that we had brought to us by you. We talked about unpopular Animal Crossing opinions. And I remember you being very excited about it. And I was really glad that you were excited about it because I went into like posting that episode and I was just like, well, let's see how people feel about us after this one. Because I'm sure we said some things that people clearly did not agree with. I told somebody in the comments because I appreciated that they were very honest with me because they did not agree with a lot of stuff that we said. And I told them, I was like, hey, I'm not mad at you. I didn't really open like that, but I was like, I really appreciate that you're leaving the comments that I expected us to get more of. But I think that just goes to show you, like, the Animal Crossing community is so, just like, in general, pretty nice. So I think a lot of people took it well. But I was glad to get somebody who was like, man, you guys, I don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong about everything you just said is wrong.
Why do you exist?
Yeah, so I did want to hear some of your own unpopular Animal Crossing opinions.
Okay, well, I'll start with the most obvious. Amiibo Festival is fun.
You're friends with Coconut.
I mean, all right. So I understand that that there's a lack of skill as you in playing Amiibo Festival. It's not like Mario Party, but I actually think that's more of a benefit than a something that holds it back. Because if you have like mini games or whatever, if I would have played with like a couple of kids or whatever, more than likely I would win like every mini game, and so that just gives me an unfair advantage in getting stars or whatever. So the only way I would lose would be for the game to somehow cheat me, like Mario Kart or something. You know how like you always get blue shell, red shell, green shell, like right before the finish line.
Yep.
So, but with Amiibo Festival, with it being so luck based, I guess, or random or whatever, literally anybody can win the game. So that keeps it competitive for one, and two, the secret to the game being really, really fun is turnips. Like the turnip trading, trying to guess when to sell, when to buy, waiting for which one. I need a 3 so I can offload these turnips so I don't take a bath or I get like 500 bells a turnip or whatever. Like there's strategy in that, and that's what really makes it fun.
Yeah. I think I've been playing it more because we've got that tournament going, and I'm definitely I for sure appreciate like the turnip value to the game because I feel like most of the skill, or I guess kind of like more of the strategy, would be based around that mechanic. But also, I think more and more I've been really appreciating those games that can give that person who doesn't play as much video games as you a chance, you know?
Right.
Because you mentioned like Mario Party, and I played Super Mario Party. We went to a friend's place. Jackie and I played with a couple other friends, and Jackie doesn't play as many video games as I do. But I really appreciated the mini games in that one because it was like there was a mix of ones that took skill, and then there was a mix of like a good mix of ones that were just like completely luck based.
Right.
Or the motion was easy enough for just like anybody to pick up and do. And so I feel like having those types of games that are inviting to people who just don't spend as much time playing video games and don't really know their way around a controller, you know, or even like, you know, sometimes you give a controller to somebody and they're like, all right, before I even hold this, like, what am I even looking at? Like, being able to comprehend what's on screen is a big thing. And so sometimes you just need an Amiibo Festival there where it's just like, okay, so I have this thing. you're going to take this figure and you're going to put it here. You're going to roll your die. And then you're just going to try to be happier than everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And everyone has equal opportunity happiness for everyone.
Yeah. Up until you reach that ending point and somebody lands on that, like, oh, you planted a money tree and it finally paid off.
Yeah. Why do you think I picked Tom Nook for that tournament?
It's a good. He's a moneymaker for sure,
right? Like there's like I've played the game a lot, so I'm letting y'all in on a little secret. Like towards the end of the game, when they start giving out like big cash, like there's an opportunity for Tom Nook to like sell a house, and then he'll get like 90,000 bells.
Yeah, so you work the system. You've got
I work the system. That's why I picked Tom Nook.
The odds are in your favor now. Yeah, cool. Did you have any other unpopular Animal Crossing opinions you want to share with us?
If I was a smart man, I would have written these down before, because I had them all in my head. And then I should have just like picked up my phone and typed it in my notes. That's literally the only one I can think of right now. But I bet you as soon as we get off, stop recording, they're all going to come running back to me.
Yeah, which is fine. You can always just share them with us at any time.
Yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to go on YouTube and like, and another thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of people, and it's funny because I'm working on a video and I was kind of just looking up reactions to Amiibo Festival on YouTube, and I found some really funny reactions where people were just like, oh no. they were not happy about that.
No, like I've seen people like burn the things.
Yeah, it's a bit excessive sometimes.
Right. Like they've already got your money, so they're not doing anybody any good.
Yeah.
By burning it.
Yeah, and because it's generally like still a pretty good deal for like 5 Amiibo
you get a bunch of Amiibo. You get 3 Amiibo cards, 2 things, and I think a pretty decently fun game.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you got to dig around and play some of the side modes as well. I always love that balloon pop game and of course Desert Island Escape.
Yeah, that's really the only one I like. I would be into trivia, but the trivia one is so hard.
It's so hard. I think the main issue with that trivia is just like there's no other context for the questions. Like I feel like within a regular mainline Animal Crossing game and like actually being in that world and playing in it, like you're going to do a lot better, but just going straight into Amiibo Festival and being like, "Oh man, what? I caught this like 3 years ago."
Right. It's like, what is this shirt? Mint gingham? I don't know.
Yeah, they ask you some really tough questions in that. But
yeah, and then they give you more than 4 options.
Oh, I know. What is wrong with that?
like, what are you doing?
Yeah, we've got to get at least like a 25% chance of getting this right.
Right.
Or cut it down to 33. Just give us 3 options.
Right. Like I don't know what they were doing with that one. But yeah. But I mean, trivia is normally fun, but the way they did it is like it's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also fear for like the cards in the trivia game because you have to like slap them down on that controller before everybody. Right. And I'm just like, I specifically bought. I have a bunch of top holders, like kind of the thick protective casings for the Amiibo cards. Uh-huh. And I specifically put them in those if I plan on playing the trivia because I'm like, no, this set is complete, everybody. Like my Amiibo cards, I have them all. No, you're not going to mess them up. Not today.
Right. And it's like everyone, eventually they start hovering around like the control pad so that you only have to do like short little wrist things for it to register.
Yeah, exactly. So the last thing I wanted to ask you before we get into Pocket Camp was, how are you feeling with the lack of Animal Crossing news right now? I guess like specifically like New Horizons stuff. Are you bored? Are you anxious?
No. Well, I just bought my Switch like 2 weeks ago, maybe. I got a Redbox Switch.
Nice.
So I finally joined the club, and I got Fire Emblem with it. And so far. Between like whatever free time I do have, I end up playing Fire Emblem. So while I would like more news, and there are rumors that there's a Nintendo Direct coming up really soon.
Mhm.
I'm patient enough to where I can wait. It'll come when it comes, as long as the game will be good. So, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Animal Crossing Direct come February or so, where they pretty much tell you everything you need to know. So,
Yes.
So outside of that, I really don't know what they would tell us that different, because I don't really know how much new stuff there is that they haven't shown already.
Yeah, that's true. There's I think a lot of the fun in the game is just like being thrown into it and not knowing what to expect. And it's a very different game in the sense of that real-time clock, where I remember the first time I played it, I didn't really know what to expect. I was just thrown into it, and I think I like vaguely understood that there was a real-time clock aspect to it, and I was like, how do they do that? I don't understand how it moves at the same time we move. That's weird. Like that part was beyond me. And then I started playing it and I was like, oh, cool. I can just like, I got to play every day and log in and find everything. And so, I don't know. I think it's a nice way to be introduced to the game, not knowing too much. And then eventually finding yourself 3 months down the line and being like, oh man, all you got to do that is this and then that. And then there you go. You're
right.
Like
yeah,
you become a pro.
I think it's best just like discovering things on your own as opposed to being told and shown everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I have so much fun looking at new trailers too, though.
yeah, I understand. Know what they could do if they show one at the next Direct or whatever, instead of showing more new stuff, I bet if they just showed a trailer full of old NPCs, just you talking to them, I'm pretty sure that would more than satisfy everybody.
Yes.
So they can stop saying, "Oh my God, it's Blathers! Oh my God, it's Isabel!"
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, like I'm gonna think of something trivial right now that I freaked out over. I sent my friends were watching my live stream. They're friends from my old Splatoon team that I played on, and one of them made a joke of like, oh, fast forward to this part, you can watch Chewie talk about butterfly shadows. So, I mean, yeah, like, if we got a trailer of a character talking to a bunch of different villagers, we would freak out.
Yeah, that's all they really need to do without... That way they don't have to show anything. They can still save stuff for their February Animal Crossing Direct, but still throw you a bone to where you still can go crazy for like the next 2 months or so.
Yeah, and I mean, I would love to see just any little bit more too, because it's like we got one quick little look at autumn and winter in the game, and I was just like, oh man, this gets me so excited, and I'd be happy to see like any of those scenes, because I remember the New Leaf trailer that we got. There's the moment at the end of the trailer where the character's walking down on their town, and it's essentially switching through all of the seasons, and you get to see them, and I'm just like, man, that's awesome. It's kind of equivalent to that time-lapse scene in the New Horizons trailer that we saw.
I do recall. Like, they walked out of their house, and they walked straight down, and then they showed, like, all 4 seasons, one after the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just seeing, like, something like that, it's just... I feel like that captures Animal Crossing right there. Like, you're just going through the stages of life, you know?
Yeah, exactly, good sir.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's fun. So yeah, I mean, I want to see more for sure. But I've also hit that point recently where I'm just like, you know what? Nintendo has made me wait a long time in the past. They'll probably keep making me wait a long time in the future. I'm fine if the next time I see this game is March 20th when it's in my hands and I'm playing.
Yeah, we got like 6 months or so to go, right?
Yeah, I just have to accept that like my 40 minutes of gameplay, which is pretty good. That's a lot of stuff. And the trailer on top of that, like...
Right.
That's a good amount for me to keep watching over and over. Yeah. Though, you know what? A check-in every season, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're loving these, how the grass has turned just a little bit lighter in Pocket Camp. Huh?
Yeah. I can't tell you how much I was looking at it, and I was just like, this is so great. I love it. I literally, I changed my camp like right away as soon as like this event started, and I turned it more into an autumn theme. I put those birch trees on that have like the falling leaves and everything, and I was just like, man, my camp looks great. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but I kind of gave it like an outdoorsy, woodsy type of look.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Every little bit counts.
Yeah. So let's talk about Pocket Camp.
Let's get it.
Yeah, because I know you love this game, and some people don't. And I think they're okay to not like it. I get that, like, mobile games aren't for everybody, but I think this past month I've definitely become more enamored with the game, I would say. Because I think up until recently I would play it and I thought I was having a good time. But I don't know, something recently just clicked, and I think it might have been with like the goals or the new cookies that were coming out were finally ones that I was more interested in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it clicked with me. So I guess, did you start playing Pocket Camp right at the beginning?
I was one of those people that made the fake Australian account.
Nice.
Yes, us too.
So we could play it before it actually came to America. So I've played it almost every day since then.
That's really good. Because I definitely took like 3 months off.
Yeah, I think the most I've not played was maybe 2 or 3 days. But other than that, I pretty much play every day. Now, I may not play for long periods every day. I do at least check in. But I have, for the most part, played almost since day one. Or day zero.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, day negative like 30 or so.
Right.
Awesome. So like, what is it that you love about Pocket Camp? What keeps you playing?
Primarily it's the convenience. I can just pull it. Now, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't even play it on my phone. I play it on my iPad. And I bring my iPad with me back and forth to work so that whenever I have a free 5-10 minutes or whatever, I can do a rotation of what I guess I want to know, a cycle of giving out bugs and fish and shells and stuff. And so, or I'll get really low on certain shells or fish or whatever. So I'll go fish in the lake, in the river, back and forth or whatever, just kind of get my stockpile back up.
Right.
But primarily, it gives me a bite-sized chunk of something to play while I'm waiting, and it's really not that unfun. Like, I don't know, like I find it enjoyable. It pretty much encompasses what Animal Crossing is. I know people will be like, "Well, this is boring" or whatever, but it's like you fish, you bug hunt, you shake trees, you decorate. I don't know what more you're looking for.
Yeah, I do really feel that it has like all of the ingredients to an Animal Crossing game in it. And I don't know. I guess I think for me before I was playing on a really terrible phone, so everything was very slow for me to do, and it was just stuttering along, just chugging.
Yeah, it must have been like a Wild World.
Yeah, yeah, exactly like that. And then, but like on top of that, like they didn't have the Pete's parcel service where he delivers all the stuff for you. So
Right, that was a game changer.
Yeah, that really improved it. Because now, like, you don't have to spend all this time going to every single location to give away all of these things. Because then, like, I understandably thought of it as a chore at that point.
Yeah.
Because, like, you have to go through a whole loading screen to get there. And then on my phone, it was just so much slower than everything else. So it was just like, man, I hope I get there soon because I don't want to play this for an hour and a half. But like, that's essentially like if I took my time to play a whole cycle of the game, it was like an hour and a half for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And by then I'm like, oh man, I have to do this again in an hour. So
Yeah, Pete's parcel service was definitely a game changer because it's so fast to just pop, 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 done.
yeah, and then I think like once I started playing on a newer phone and it got better, they added the Pete's parcel service. I figured like, I can just focus on like all of the other stuff in this game that I don't really do but is available to me. Like essentially decorating, like crafting all of the furniture, making friends with all the villagers so you could get their special furniture, which I'm still in the process of. And then even on top of that, like maxing out all of the amenities and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, like once I got to that aspect of the game and I didn't have to be held up by just like the basic feature, which is essentially collect materials to craft and everything, slash, give your level up your villagers and everything.
Right.
So yeah, once I got past that, I was like, oh man, there's kind of a lot to do here. Now I'm actually doing like all of the gardening as well. Like whenever it's not a gardening event, I'm still gardening because I want to get like all of the hybrid flowers and enough of those hybrids to get like all the different pieces of furniture there. So
yeah, I mean the game gives you a lot of stuff to do.
yeah, I almost feel like it's more overwhelming like if you started now because there's just
yes. Oof.
years at this point of updates. Well, I guess this November it'll be years of update. October if you got it in Australian time. So I don't know, there's just like a lot for players to jump into, and then on top of that it's like I had to look on another person's file who hadn't played the game before, but you don't unlock the cabin to like level 15 or something. Mm-hmm. And so like there's enough progress there, and even like paying off your camper is still at the beginning, and there's all the decorating to do there. So I don't know, there's a lot of there are a lot of rooms that you have access to decorating.
Yes.
Because when I think about it that way...
2 floors, cabin, and an outside to decorate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you've got like 4 spaces. And when you think about it that way, that's like, what did we have in Population Growing? We essentially had the main floor, upstairs, and downstairs.
Right.
So we even have more than that.
And very limited storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because every piece of storage or whatever could only hold 3 things total.
Yeah, and now we can hold every single thing.
Right. Which is when you get to the what do we want to come back in New Horizons, that's going to be like my first thing.
Oh, yeah. I'll ask you that now. Like, what features do you want from Pocket Camp to be in New Horizons?
Storage! Oh man, I have changed my clothes in Pocket Camp more times than in all the other previous games combined. Just because I have all the clothes there.
Yeah.
You don't have enough storage to store outfits in the other games or whatever. So you pretty much you pick a fit and then you stick with it. So, but now I was like, I feel like changing my clothes up today, and then take a picture. So that is the primary thing. Is like I like the storage.
Yeah, and I feel like they have to give us more storage. Like we are already seeing that instead of the 15 spaces in our inventory, we do have that upgrade to 20. I'm still kind of hoping that we get a way to upgrade that storage a bit. At least like our pocket space,
Yes.
But like just seeing that, I'm like, okay, I have a pretty good feeling because we're going to be able to decorate outside as well as inside. Like we were already struggling with storage space, just decorating an interior space. Right. Imagine how much harder it is to manage that when we have an entire island to decorate. It's pretty crazy, So I for sure hope they add that storage. Is there other stuff you want added?
Yeah. Oh, the auto. Well, I mean, I can see from the trailer that there's auto stacking. So, but that makes things so much easier in terms of maintaining your space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, storage is really the primary thing that absolutely must come over. And then, the way that it tells you that what you have and what you don't have. Like if you go to the catalog you can see the things that you're missing so that you can kind of fill out whatever section of the stuff that you don't have.
Right.
That's convenient.
Yeah, and there's kind of two spaces for that too, because there's like the straight up like craft list where you can see like, oh, I have one of that, I have one of that, none of that, you know, that will essentially signal you with what you have. But then also like right from a menu, like you can look at the entire catalog and see exactly what you're missing there too. So I don't know. Right. I think there are a couple ways to get to that, and no ways to get to that in previous Animal Crossing games, which is annoying. You know.
So yeah, I had player's guide books for all the previous games, but nice. Since they don't seem to make these books anymore, where they put everything online, it's going to be much harder to collect things and keep a track of unless they have something like this to where you can just like pull it up on a menu or something.
Yeah, but I've been worried about that because I want there to be those player guide books, but like Prima's gone all digital with things, and I'm like, man, I don't know where I'm going to print this whole thing out because I'm going to want to. I guess you'll find me at like Staples or something. And you know what? No, actually, Jackie's still in school.
Kinko's about to get paid.
Jackie's still in school, and we found out she gets a really good discount on printing. So if it has to be done that way, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do because it just makes it so much easier to keep track of your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I need that catalog. I had an app for New Leaf that I would go in. I remember the first day I got that app, I spent I don't know how many hours just going through every piece of furniture and marking them.
Nice.
That was a good day. And I say that completely honestly. Like I felt that I had nothing like getting organized in a video game. I just told you before we started recording, I made my whole lesson plan for all of my students in Fire Emblem. And it took me probably like 2 hours yesterday, and I was like, yes, now I know what to do.
Yeah, and the fact that you even call it a lesson plan is hilarious.
Oh yeah, I had to. Because I was complaining to Jackie about it, and she's doing her PhD. She teaches some classes at college and everything. And so I was like, and it doesn't tell you like what these people need to learn and all this stuff, and I have to actually like plan it out. And she was like, it's almost like you have to be a real teacher.
Yeah, pretty much. Coming from a real teacher, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. So I thought it was funny. I was like, okay, I have to call this a lesson plan.
So you didn't go to like the Serenus forests to look it up?
No, I guess. No, I don't know. I guess I haven't been looking things up because I'm just like, I don't know when somebody's going to stick a spoiler in front of me. I can't trust it yet. I'm only on chapter 4. So
oh my God, you are so far behind.
I'm telling you, every move is agonizing when you're playing on classic mode.
Yeah.
You have to really pay attention because if not, your people are dead forever. And that's a bummer.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. So we've talked about like
normal casual for me forever.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wish I could be that person, but I'm in too deep now. I've gone too long playing this way, so I'm just gonna keep doing it. So we've talked about kind of like what you wanted from Pocket Camp and everything, but I also want to talk about Pocket Camp itself. Like, what are some shortcomings to it? Because we were talking about kind of a little bit earlier that we wish new items would appear, Yeah,
they've done a really good job of creating new items just out of the blue. Things that we had never even seen before, but there's still hundreds of things from the old games that are still not in there. When we get new characters, which is not often enough, they all come in through those silly maps that you have to send Gulliver out for over and over and over again, which is annoying in itself. So I miss the old days of when they had host the most, like host the most events or whatever. When you had to get like, you had to everybody had like 5 items that you had to craft in order to invite them over. And then you had another special item at level 15. And then they stopped making new amenities and new essences. So we're still using the same amenities and essences over and over again. And it just seems that they've gone... Like, I don't mind them trying to make money with premium items and fortune cookies and whatnot. But and they've, like I said, they've done a good job with the free stuff in the events. But all the old stuff that they could still put in, that's what they really need to bring back.
Yeah, I agree with that completely, because it's just like, basically the new items we get are through those events. Like, we get, I don't know, 5 to 9 items that didn't exist before. And whereas like before, when it did do like those host the most things, we'd get new characters. They'd just start showing up around your place. And then all of a sudden, there were also all of these new things to craft and invite them over to your campsite. But now they're doing the map thing, which I'm terrible at because I'm unlucky. But you send Gulliver out for 6 hours, and I'm surprised there's not, like, of all the things to put leaf tickets on to speed up,
right?
They don't have it for this. And I'm like, look, nobody's going to speed up crafting an item. They're just going to wait for it. But the Gulliver thing, like, just hurry up.
Right. Hurry it up. And then when he does come back, he's so stingy with the treats.
Yeah, he only gives you 1 bronze treat sometimes, and you're just like, dude, I waited 6 hours. Why are you come on, man. I gave you 10 pieces. Well, you know what, let's be honest. I gave you 10 giant dharmas.
Right, that's all you do. 10 giant dharmas or 10 modern lamps or something, minimal lamps.
Yeah, you gotta get me more than just 1 bronze candy. Or do I have to switch it up? Like, is the market too flooded with these things or something? What's going on over there?
Yeah, that's what it is. The whole pocket camp economy is filled with giant dharmas that no one's buying.
It really is. Like, that's essentially the currency at this point. But yeah, like, I really miss when we'd get a new set of villagers and they'd come with their own pieces of furniture. Because you're totally right. Like, there are series that exist within Pocket Camp, like, say, the Green series or Modern series, and we don't have every item from those. Like, there's still room for them. Yeah,
there's no modern bed yet.
Yeah.
And I know, Sergio, because I've been wanting to put it in my house forever, in my RV, but I can't.
Yeah, and Sergio needs that for his bedorium.
Yes.
His campsite was all beds.
Yeah.
Were you selling them?
No, they were just sleeping. Yeah, it was nothing but nap time, which is funny for Sergio because he doesn't sleep.
Not at all. Not a cat at all.
Yeah, you got to sleep more, Sergio. Yeah, what was I going to say on top of that item stuff? I don't remember, but I miss it. I really do miss it. And, you know, they do focus on bringing, I feel like every week we get a new fortune cookie, and that's got new items, but like you said, like, that's a premium thing, which is fine because I've spent hours and hours on this game, so every once in a while I'll throw them some money and I'm like, good job, developers, I like this.
Yes.
Right.
But like, to have it like so heavily focused in that direction, I feel like at some point people are going to notice it a little bit more, especially because like the only new items we've been getting are from the events, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, there's just way too many old items from the old games that are just not there, that they can just throw in there, and would make people ecstatic.
Yeah, yeah. So here is, this reminds me of what my kind of prediction I alluded to earlier was. But like I said, I'd really like them to bring back giving us more to craft. And you know what? We do have a game on the way that's going to give us more to craft. So what we know about New Horizons so far, at least what we've heard from the developers, is that they're still working on kind of the Pocket Camp connection with the game, but they did mention that they plan on having shared events or something shared. So I think they can use that opportunity to give us the same things to craft in Pocket Camp as they do in New Leaf, you know? Maybe get away from that like premium stuff and be like, hey, these items are brand new to this New Horizons game. Here's a taste of what you can make. And so like they give us some items in Pocket Camp. They gave us some items in New Horizons. I think that's a really cool way to kind of have them connected in some way, you know?
Yeah, like I'm sitting on 999 craft items for everything.
Yeah, I sell them constantly.
Yeah, so clearly, and I can't be the only one who's like this or whatever, because now it sells automatically.
Yeah.
Except for when it's in your mailbox. So clearly everyone is sitting on all these materials that they're not using. So, and crafting was like the thing that set Pocket Camp apart from everything else. So the fact that they've just abandoned it all willy-nilly to make everything about whatchamacallit, fortune cookies, which, like I said, is fine because it's a free game. So I think developers should be entitled to some sort of a compensation for their efforts. But it's just so fortune cookie premium wig heavy and not enough just stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we need just more stuff in it. You're right.
So yeah, and like they haven't even updated like the regular 500 bell fortune cookies ever. They haven't updated the Timmy and Tommy's shop or the Able Sisters clothes or Kix's shoe store. Like none of that stuff has been updated since day one.
Yeah, it's all been the same stuff. And you know what? Let me complain about that too, because I'm still missing one item from those fortune cookies, like the free ones. And I literally ate like 30 of them today and still did not get that one item.
Is it that Nooks Holmes shop?
Yep, it's the Nooks Holmes model. I managed to get 2 more board games, which I was fine with because I like those the best out of like the other 2 available. At least like the 4-star items in that one, but I have not gotten the Nooks Holmes model, and that's the only thing from the fortune cookies that I'm missing. And you would think that like, you know, we can use one of our tickets to get a free item from any of like the premium fortune cookies, but there's no way to just straight up buy one of the items from the regular fortune cookies.
Right. Yeah, like bells are useless unless you're going to, well, after you pay off your RV, they're pretty much useless until, unless you want to build that gaudy gold furniture that I don't think anybody really wants to make.
Yeah, I'm going to eventually when I finally have everything built for every character. I'm gonna start focusing on that. I have enough for 2 of them right now, but
okay,
and that's. They're expensive. They are so expensive. Not only with like bells, but also the amount of sparkle stones you need and the amount of essences you need. I think you need 100 elegant essences for each of them. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's finally something to use them on because without any new amenities, I'm sitting on like almost 999 of those too.
That's very true. I'm nowhere near that. I don't know why. But yeah, it is, there's not a lot to use a lot of these items for anymore. And I think that's the new, the rebalancing that they need to do with that game.
Right. So, I mean, like I said, they're doing great with 3 sets of new items every month with the 3 events.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing an event, there's like nothing, that's it. Everything else you have to pay for.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everybody. Well, you know what? I'm looking at the clock right now. I know I still have some things to do before game night tonight. So I think we're going to have to go through these Haken Villager Corner answers very quickly this time around. But I do really like this question and was interested in what both of your thoughts were. But you mentioned a bit earlier that we're getting rumors for a Nintendo Direct either this week or next week at some point in September, you know. So if there is a Nintendo Direct, do you think we'll see New Horizons? I guess, Sergio, you want to start with that?
I see a 60-40 split, 60% chance we won't see it, unfortunately.
Ooh, bad odds for us. What about you, Quantrell?
I am going to... Okay, so I'm going to go in not expecting a single thing. That way, if something is shown, I'll be surprised.
Nice.
That's my life motto right now. I'm going in with zero expectations at this point. I've had a hard year of waiting for this game.
I mean, if we between the January, February Direct, whatever that was, and the whole tax day fiasco, just expect nothing.
Yeah, and even like a year ago today, we still did not know if they were making an Animal Crossing game.
Right.
So it's been hard on my heart, I think. I'm ready to not live that life. All right.
Yeah, so just expect nothing, hope for the best.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to live. All right, Sergio, let's go ahead and go back and forth on their answers real quick. Do you want to start with this one?
Yes, so the first answer this week is from Kakulu, and they say, I don't think so. I think if we get anything, it'll just be the same trailer over again, maybe with a few extra tidbits. September's Direct is going to be about Luigi's Mansion and Smash characters. Sad face.
Oh.
Or angry face.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I flipped my head the other way and saw the angry face. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'd do like the same trailer. I think they'd actually do a new one if we did see it. But at the same time, like, expect nothing.
Yeah, sorry to be a downer.
I mean, that's just how I'm feeling these days. All right, so Winnie World said, I'm a glass half full kind of friend. I absolutely think we will see something Animal Crossing, even if it's just a little that would work for me. Sure, they have a lot of games coming out sooner than Animal Crossing, and pretty close to the Direct, but it's also a big early next year game. It was also meant to come out this year, and if I were on the team, I personally would feel bad for delaying it, so I would have to include it. I could see them throwing a little something in because of the delay, just to keep us happy. Nothing big, but that's okay. And that's actually, I like that way of looking at it, like looking at, just imagining the Nintendo developers sitting around there and they're like, oh man, we should probably do something because we delayed this thing. How about we give them a good trailer or something?
Yeah, and right now would be a good time because I feel like Nintendo knows the hype is sort of slowing down a bit, so definitely right now would be a good time to kickstart it again.
Yeah, and I want to be clear too, like, once Pokemon comes out in November, it's essentially a 4-month gap before anything else comes from Nintendo. So I think this is their chance, like, before their big holiday season starts going, before they start pushing toward that, just put out a little news that it's like, oh yeah, we have all this cool stuff coming out now, but here's what's coming out in the next year, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think that's their time to say it.
Right, because this is probably the last Direct before next year, right?
Yeah.
Usually the September one, they don't usually have, after November, they usually shut down shop. Do they not?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're quiet during that month. And, you know, they don't really need to say anything. Everybody's having fun with their Switch and playing whatever just came out, you know?
Do y'all know when the Game Awards are?
They are usually in December. I think pretty early in December, the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because usually there's something during that show too.
Yeah, I mean, Breath of the Wild 2. Come on, Nintendo. Do not mind seeing that.
Nice. So the next answer is by Layalatron, and he says, I doubt it. They're probably going to focus on everything that's available before Christmas, as the holiday season is not that far away now. And this is a very good point because there's so many games. It's insane the amount of games that are going to be out before the year ends. Definitely they would have it covered. If there's a Direct, they have enough games to talk about.
Yeah, between Nintendo's game, third-party games, and like indie games, there's just so much there.
Yes.
For sure. Honey Ocean said, I have to say we will, only because I might wilt and wither away if I don't have hope. I'm hoping we'll get a teeny bit of info, maybe just some new villager designs, or a new teaser trailer or something. And then in January, we get a big direct. Here's to hoping for anything at all. Well, I feel like we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. I feel like I can't hope at this point. Otherwise, I'll wither away. But I get those sentiments for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So Dogbert says, apologies for the pessimism, but I don't think New Horizons will show up. There's far too many other upcoming games they can show, and the release is too far off. Once Pokemon is out of the way, I believe they will be in a much better chance to see Animal Crossing New Horizons in the new year. So they're expecting it from January or after, which I think makes sense. It also fits Nintendo's most recent style of, showing games when they're ready mostly.
Yeah, and I mean, though I'm saying, like, expect nothing, I do need to look at how Nintendo has been handling their marketing right now, because essentially, like, now that we're going to be getting closer, like, post-Pokemon, we're going to be very close to New Horizons, so I expect regular updates on Twitter, just how they've been doing with other games, where they're like Astral Chain this past week was just like going crazy on Nintendo's Twitter account. So yeah, their Twitter is going to be the place to look at for sure. And then our final answer is from Indie Sarah, and she said, Animal Crossing is an optimistic game. These critters give me all kinds of hope every day, and being thoroughly impressed as I catch fish to remind me bad times are only times that are bad. To not believe New Horizons is on its way is for me to not believe in Animal Crossing itself. I simply won't do it.
Nice.
So there we go.
What's the good luck item that we need to wear?
Oh man, it changes all the time and I never have it. It's a hard life. Cool. So Quantrell, thank you so much for joining us on the show. It was very fun to talk to you. I was excited to have you
definitely.
on.
Guys, it's been a blast. And if you're bored and need someone else to come back on, I've got nothing else to do.
Awesome. Do you have anything that like you want to plug or anything?
No, because as soon as we get off here, I'm going straight back to the Switch.
Awesome. Sounds good. I guess
go do my lesson plans.
Oh yeah, you got to build them out. Otherwise, you never know how your students are going to end up. They could just, it could be bad. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio, me, and Quantrell. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChewyPlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, have an episode dedicated to you, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chewy Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money toward great things on the show, including this new art that you get to enjoy today. Tuned in on YouTube? The comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. Do you think we'll see Animal Crossing New Horizons in the next Direct? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chewy, Sergio, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good evening.